If you are a small business CEO and you're frustrated because your team's performance is lacking, I have some bad news. It might actually be your fault. Specifically, it's that corporate, outdated annual performance review system you're forcing them through every year. Gallup data shows that a staggering 86% of employees say annual reviews do absolutely nothing to inspire them to improve. Think about the math on that. You are wasting dozens of hours of your time on a process that actively fails 9 times out of 10. So today we are killing the annual review. I'm going to show you why looking backward is tanking your culture and the exact forward-looking quarterly system I use to drive real growth without extra paperwork. Let's get into it. Let's be completely honest about what an annual review actually is. It's just corporate theater. Most of the time, it's just a massive, exhausting exercise everyone has to endure just to justify the 3% raise you've already decided to give them. We pull employees into a room and say, this is your big opportunity to showcase your performance and highlight your wins from the last 12 months. But that's a lie. 9 times out of 10, the compensation decisions were made weeks ago by management and finance. The review isn't an assessment of performance. It's just a check-the-box activity designed to make everyone feel good about the raise they were going to get anyway. Here's why looking backward doesn't work for a growing small business. You are sitting down in December trying to litigate a mistake an employee made back in March. A mistake you can't fix, a client you've already lost, a deadline that's already passed 9 months ago. It breeds immediate resentment because the employee feels attacked, and frankly, nobody's memory is really that good. What actually happens is recency bias. The manager judges the entire year based on whatever the employee did in the last 30 days. And let's look at it from the manager's perspective. They absolutely hate this process. They see it as a bureaucratic chore standing between them and their actual job. So what do? They rush through it. They copy and paste generic feedback, slap a meets expectations rating on the form, and they turn it in because they don't take it seriously. Zero meaningful feedback is actually given. Your managers waste days writing them. Your employees waste days stressing over them, and your business gets absolutely zero ROI from the entire ordeal. It is an autopsy of the past when what your business actually needs is a roadmap for the future. So what do you do instead? How do you actually drive performance without the corporate theater? At Acacia, we threw out the old playbook and built a system that works for growing businesses. We split it into 2 main parts, an annual development plan to map out the future, and quarterly reviews to keep people on track. The purpose of the annual development plan isn't to dig up past mistakes to justify a raise. It exists to ensure your team is growing in ways that actually strengthen the business and deliver high-quality strategic results for your clients. We stopped obsessing over what happened 9 months ago, and we focus on how we show up today, the behaviors that build trust, authority, and continuity. The structure is actually pretty simple and 100% transparent. It's broken down into 4 distinct pillars. First is behavioral self-reflection. We give the employee a structured opportunity to look at our core behavioral standards and assess themselves. But here's the rule. They have to use evidence and real examples, not just good intentions or effort. Second, we look at employee perspective and organizational feedback. This is a safe space for the employee to tell us what is limiting their effectiveness. Is it a broken system, unclear expectations, a bottleneck somewhere? This gives you, the CEO, eyes on the ground to fix your business. Third, we bring in leader behavioral feedback. As the leader, you provide a standards-based assessment of how they are demonstrating the behaviors required at their role level. You call out their strengths, pinpoint their growth areas, and assess their actual readiness for extended responsibility. Now, when we give this behavioral feedback, we completely ban the traditional 1 to 5 rating scale. Telling a high performer they are a 3 out of 5 is absolutely arbitrary, subjective, and frankly, it feels pretty defeating. It kills morale. Instead, at Acacia, we use a proficiency scale. We score based on reality. Is the behavior developing? Is it proficient for their current role? Are they advanced, meaning they are actively mentoring others in it? This shifts the entire conversation from a defensive argument over a math equation to a professional discussion about actual mastery and career progression. Finally, all of this culminates in development and growth commitments. This is a jointly defined set of priorities for the coming year. You map out the exact behavioral and skill-based growth they need, and you translate it into clear actions. The ultimate outcome here is total clarity. Clear expectations, clear strengths to build on, and clear commitments for growth. Once you have that annual development plan, you don't lock it in a drawer until next year. You operationalize it using quarterly check-ins. But let's establish a non-negotiable rule before those quarterly check-ins. Feedback must happen in real time. If one of your managers has constructive feedback or behavioral issue to address, they do not save it up for a quarterly review or an annual review. They deliver it at the very next one-on-one, period, right now. Now, let's be really real about that. Your managers are probably going to be terrified when you tell them they have to give real-time feedback, because most managers have never actually been trained on how to give real-time feedback. They avoid it because they don't want conflict, which is exactly why they default to saving it all up for a yearly form. You cannot just hand them this system and expect it to work. You have to train them on how to give radical, direct feedback without being a jerk. We're going to do a deep dive on how to train your managers on a future video, but for now, know that real-time coaching is the non-negotiable foundation this whole quarterly system sits on. Doing this means that when a quarterly check-in happens, there are absolutely zero surprises. The quarterly isn't a trap to focus on the negative. It's a proactive two-way strategy session designed to set the employee up for maximum success. And unlike traditional reviews where the manager reads from a script, at Acacia, the employee leads the conversation by answering 3 core questions. First, what are your top 2 highlights from this quarter? Second, what are your 1 or 2 key learnings you want to carry into the next quarter? And third, what feedback do you have for us to improve our process, structure, or support for you? Notice that third question. It forces a two-way dialogue. It keeps you agile. In a small business, a year is a lifetime. Priorities change fast. By assessing performance goals and professional development every 90 days, you ensure your people stay perfectly aligned with the business as it scales. We wrap up the quarterly by looking entirely at the horizon. We look at their performance and development goals for the upcoming quarter and ask 4 operational questions then. What roadblocks are you facing? What action items do you have to hit these goals? What do you need from me to accomplish them? And what are your immediate next steps? Suddenly, you're not an HR bureaucrat auditing the past. You are a CEO clearing the tracks so your train can run faster. So let's stop doing autopsies on the past year. Let's kill the traditional annual review and build a forward-looking development plan using a real proficiency scale and run the execution through employee-led quarterly check-ins. That is how you fix team performance and build a culture of high growth. If you want to know how we handle the day-to-day alignment that makes this whole system work, make sure to subscribe because my next video is breaking down the exact one-on-one framework we use. Drop a comment below and tell me how much time you are currently wasting on annual reviews. Now look, fixing your review system is just one piece of the puzzle. If you are still the bottleneck for every major decision, your business is never going to scale. Click on this video right here where I break down exactly why your business has stalled because it still runs entirely on you. Go watch it now and I'll see you over there.